so many HSPs and empaths commenting saying that they'd never heard this issue described this way before, that they felt like it resonated with them so much, and that they wanted other ways to continue to engage and learn about this topic, and the wheels kind of started turning in my head. A couple of years ago, on my own personal self-development and healing journey, I discovered that I finally stopped absorbing other people's emotions once I became what I refer to as being internally anchored. This was so life-changing for me as a highly sensitive person and an empath that I knew someday it would become a topic of one of my YouTube videos. So I made the video entitled "The Real Reason Why We Absorb Other People's Emotions and How to Finally Stop," which outlines my entire theory about why I feel like so many HSPs and empaths struggle with absorbing other people's emotions because they are externally anchored like I was. By the way, if you are someone that absorbs other people's emotions and you want to know what the heck I mean by being internally or externally anchored, and maybe this is the first video of mine you're seeing, I would highly recommend pausing this video and going over and watching this original video and then coming back here, because this is essentially a follow-up to that video. The link to that video will be in the description. I got such an overwhelmingly positive response to that video, with so many HSPs and empaths commenting saying that they'd never heard this issue described this way before, that they felt like it resonated with them so much, and that they wanted other ways to continue to engage and learn about this topic, and the wheels kind of started turning in my head. I've definitely learned in my own coaching certification program, in my own coaching practice working with clients, as well as in my own life experience, that any transformation in life happens in 3 stages. So the first one is the information gathering stage, which is where you have your mindset shifts, where you get introduced to a new idea. Someone describes whatever it is you're trying to work on in a new way that makes you suddenly understand the problem from a different perspective, and things start to click. That's the kind of mindset shift phase that I'm calling information. Then there's the stage of integration, which is where you actually take those insights that you've now accumulated in your mind and make it relate to you and your life. How are you going to apply that new information to your life? So you would be reframing your past experiences with this new paradigm shift taken into account. You would be realizing how this applies to your actual day-to-day life right now, and doing a little bit of personal work and maybe emotional work around integrating that new idea into who you are and how your life operates day to day. This usually looks like some sort of journaling prompt, or an exercise, or a visualization process, or a somatic practice, anything that sort of takes what you just learned and integrates it into your being. And then the third stage of transformation is where you start to actually see the tangible results that everyone's looking for, which is where you're taking action, which is what I call the implementation phase. So that's where you're going to be taking what you've learned and absorbed mentally on a logical, intellectual level, having integrated it into your being on an emotional level, and then taking action and in a physical way that embodies that knowledge, in a way that utilizes that insight and is in alignment with that new paradigm. So that's the implementation. This is essentially the way that my coaching program for HSPs, by the way, is organized. So there's an information stage, there's an integration stage, and then there's an implementation stage. So when I was thinking about further ways to help everyone who watched that original video dive deeper into this topic, I thought, well, the video is the information, and now they need something to integrate. So what I have done is create something very tangible for you, which is a workbook that goes along with that video, and I'm so excited to share it with you. So for those of you that want to dive deeper into this topic and really apply this to your relationships with other people and yourself, you now have something very practical to help you do that. And by the way, something very profound happens when you actually take pen to paper. And this is something that I talk about all the time, because I was really resistant to doing a journaling practice when I first heard about all the buzz. As an HSP, tend to overthink, so in my mind actively thinking about things a lot. So I was like, what's the big deal? Why can't I just solve these things in my mind? Why can't I just have these internal conversations and have that, check the boxes? But when I actually sat down the first time and did a journaling exercise, I was shocked at how much more depth and insight came pouring out of me than had I just been stuck in the same mental loop. If there was a journaling prompt in my head that I responded to, I would come up with one answer and then kind of be done. It was like a closed circuit. But actually putting pen to paper, something about that process opened me up in a way where things just started to flow out of me that had not occurred to me when it was just in the mental space. So there's something about that makes it real in a way too, that helps you process on a much deeper level. So I really am a huge advocate for journaling practices, which is also why I think doing some sort of journaling prompts in a workbook format like this can be so powerful for integrating those new insights that you learn and not just keeping it up in your mind. And for anyone that has ever written down a to-do list, you know how powerful it is to actually take something out of your brain and put it on paper so that you're not taking up that mental space, and having it actually be physically in front of you where you can look at it and analyze it from a perspective of like, it's not part of me, it's over here. Just trust me, it's amazing. Okay. For someone who's in your head all the time and is just like going crazy up here, it's just chef's kiss. So if you want to take what you learned from that video, whatever really resonated with you, and you want to really integrate them into your being, solidify these new ways of thinking, and then be able to move on to the implementation of taking the action steps despite fear and hesitation, this could be a great way to start. So the workbook is called Become Internally Anchored and No Longer Absorb Others' Emotions by me. So inside the workbook, you'll find journaling prompts that I've used with myself and my HSP clients on how to work through this pattern, how to become internally anchored and return back home to yourself and your own energy. This works for if you are someone who is struggling with recovering after absorbing people's emotions, or if you're someone who's wanting to work on recognizing when you're getting sucked into someone else's experience and stop yourself, snapping out of it and coming back to your own experience. Or if you're someone that wants to get so mastered at this that you are so in your own energy and so anchored in your own space all the time that you're not even getting tempted to get pulled into other people's experiences. All included in the workbook, by the way. Throughout the pages in the workbook, you will essentially learn to recognize and cultivate your own energy, which solidifies your internal anchor and your tether to it. It'll help you heal your relationship with yourself and this pattern, while getting really real and honest with yourself about why committing to changing this pattern is so important to you, for the sake of your own well-being and the health of all of your relationships. It guides you through creating your own personal toolkit to navigate any stage of interaction within this pattern, what topics to keep learning about to continue this work after you finish the workbook, and a guided process for recalibrating to healthier relationship dynamics, where you remain anchored in your own experience, making success with this transformation that much more possible. There's some younger self work, there's some affirmations, some tough questions to prompt you to dive deep, and some more teaching material that builds off of what was in the video. I really think it covers all the bases and sets you up for success when changing this pattern, and finally stop absorbing other people's emotions. I also designed the workbook to have a spiral binding, which means you can open it all the way up and lay it flat to write on either side. I made the font nice and large so that a full page of text is less visually overwhelming. I also made the paper beige and the font brown instead of white paper and black ink so that there would be less contrast visually. I also made the blank pages that are meant for journaling unlined so that you can express yourself however you see fit. You can do bullet points, you can draw things, whatever you want. I also made sure to order a test copy first to make sure the pages were nice and smooth. From one HSP to another, I thought you might appreciate these little details. So if you really resonated with what was in the original video and you're really excited to take those teachings and actually integrate them into who you are to be able to set yourself up to then implement those insights into your day-to-day life, shift this pattern for good, heal your relationship with yourself, heal your relationship with others, I highly recommend trying out this workbook. And if you do, please come back to this video and tell me in the comments what your experience was and all the ways in which this work has been really improving your life, because I would love to hear it and I'd love to celebrate you too. And if you want me to make other videos on topics that you're really interested in and make accompanying workbooks for those as well, I'd love to hear in the comments what you want to learn more about, what you want to shift in your life as an HSP. Please become a subscriber if you haven't already and join the HSP collective that are working towards climbing out of survival mode and thriving and building their dream lives. What are you waiting for? Just go click in the link in the description and get your own copy.